when we do personal property, let's say your business has $100,000 worth of value, and we're only at 56%. First, we take that 100,000 and we figure out what the depreciation is on it, because it goes by year. It varies all over the place. And you get, let's say we drop the number now to 50,000. Because we're only at 56%, we got to drop that number. We got to multiply that 50,000 by 0.56. So again, it drops down. The more we bring our total assessment ratio up toward the 70 or 80 or 90%, the more comes into the town, the lower the tax rate gets. One of the other things is that with our low percent of market, your homestead exemption, instead of being 13,000 last year at 100%, was 7,280. Now the town only gets reimbursed a portion of that 7,280 instead of getting reimbursed for the whole amount, so they lose money there. Because we were so far below 70%, we got no tree growth reimbursement. What we got was left over from the year before.
The town, just to give you an idea of the amount of money it's lost, and this is just based on the percentage, on tree growth, on reimbursement for revenue sharing and things like that. We've lost $1.4 million of revenue coming from the state since 2005. Money that would have helped offset the tax rate. So for us to do a reval, from my perspective, is real important. And hopefully Augusta would have the money to reimburse us. I wonder about that sometimes. But back to the personal property. All we are looking for is the people to report what they have for their business, to come and talk to Pat if you have questions, to tell you what, if you have never reported anything because you weren't aware of it or whatever the reason is, he can help you through that process. And there are programs that the state has that they reimburse you. It's called the Betty program and the Better program. You pay your taxes, or your personal property tax, you fill out these applications, and you send them a copy of the tax receipt that you receive, and they reimburse you, and Pat can tell you more about that.
We have two programs. We have Betty and we have Better. And these are both, were designed to try to get businesses to hire more people by giving them some tax money back. When we talk about the form, the basic part of the form that I need from people is this part. It asks for what the item is, let's say a video camera, purchase date 2005, price $1,700, age now. Now the reason for age now is it was purchased in 2005, but it might be a 2003 or 1995. So the computer has to know how to depreciate it. So that's why we ask that question. The other side of the form asks for name, address, and mailing, and a mailing address, location, and telephone number. That's basic data that all programs need. Now, when we get to what is personal property, okay, that was your question. Basically everything but the wife and kids. The original tax law spoke of chattel, which was basically your slaves. This is one of the old taxes in the state of Maine. They used to come into your house and count your pots and pans and everything. And they've changed it over time, and the current law still says personal property, but the legislature wants it to be businesses only. Some places still tax riding lawnmowers and that sort of thing. We're not doing that. If it's not being used for commercial purpose, we're not asking for it. What is commercial? You put up a sign, put up a business card someplace, put a sign on the side of your truck or whatever, you're advertising a business. If you're in the yellow pages, you're advertising a business. Now, some businesses have no personal property. It's just that kind of business. Particularly a lot of consultants. They don't have an office. They basically work out of their car on a laptop. Those people are not going to get assessed much, if any. A farmer had, and there's a lot of gentleman farmers or hobby farmers around. We know that. But there's no differentiation in the law for them. So if they're raising a dozen cows for beef and they sell them, or they are mowing and baling hay and selling hay, or if they're boarding horses or whatever, that becomes a business. However, farmers get a $10,000 exemption for machinery used exclusively for field crops, such as a baler, a mower, a tedder, a plow, a harrow. If it's not self-propelled, used specifically for field crops, they have a total value of up to $10,000 that's exempted off the top. So if they end up with let's say, $6,000 worth of this stuff, that's exempted out completely. If they have $12,000, they get taxed for $2,000. If they have $20,000, they get taxed for $10,000. They get that $10,000 exemption. Other personal property for businesses, let's take an office space, whether it's a real estate broker or a insurance agent or whatever. In that office, they have chairs, tables, computers. They have a sign out front. They might have a counter where they meet people. They've probably got a computer, file cabinets, may have a safe. That's personal property. Now, you say, what about pens and pencils? And I don't want to know about that. Not room enough in the computer to put it all in. No, it's just not worth it. However, when you take a big office space, they may have $400 or $500 worth of small miscellaneous stuff, like staplers, and just put it down as miscellaneous small equipment, yard sale value. Whatever you think it's worth, I'm not going to argue with you. Who knows what you would get if you put it on a yard sale. If you're a mechanic, garage, you've probably got a hoist, lift, you have a compressor, you've got a bunch of air tools and power tools and so on. And generally those things are owned by the company, by the garage. But you also hire him or him or him as a mechanic. That person brings their tools in, we're not after that. The tools that that employee brings to the job are exempt. It's the tools that the owner has or that the business has. Now, if you are an incorporated garage and you hire yourself you pay yourself a salary out of the corporation, your personal hand tools, again, would not be counted. But the tools that the company buys, the big stuff, would be.